Hey, Wrangler 4xe fans, I want to welcome you to the channel, welcome you to this video. This video is celebrating 1 year of Wrangler 4xe ownership. I actually ended up picking up the Jeep on March 31st of 2021, making me the first Wrangler 4xe owner in the country. Awesome. And that was only by a few days, but hey, we'll take it. Now, there were a few engineering models that were already out in the hands of some of the Chrysler employees and different people like that, but this was the first customer-owned one. And so this marks my 1 year of ownership. I wanted to do a little video to talk about some of the things I love about the Jeep, and I'm going to stick with just things specific to the 4xe, not the JL itself. You know, like I wish the seat lowered just a little bit more. I'm 6'4", and I am kind of close to the roll bar back here with my head, but I'm not going to talk about that kind of stuff. I'm going to talk about specific to 4xe stuff that I love and things that I wish Jeep could maybe update. There's probably different categories of this. Some of these are realistic, that could be done through updates or just, refreshes on future models. Some of these things kind of fall into the unrealistic category, and we'll talk about why that is. But thanks for being on this little journey of mine. If you're watching this in the Facebook group, the 4xe fans group, I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy the group. If you're watching this on YouTube, on the Wrangler 4xe fans YouTube channel, thank you for being a part of this. And if you haven't checked out the Facebook group, go check that out. I also have a Wrangler or a Jeep 4xe fans Instagram. You can check that out. I'll put the link down in the bio below. And also on Twitter, although I'm not the best keeping up with Twitter, so that's just what it is. But thanks for being part of this. Thanks for making both the YouTube channel and the Facebook group amazing. Had no idea things were going to blow up like this. I didn't really know that this thing was going to sell like this and that it was going to take off. At the point of making this video, I think we're at 10,800 some members in the Facebook fans group, and I think there's like 2,600 or something on the YouTube channel. So thank you guys. This has been a lot of fun, and so come along for the ride, and we're gonna check this thing out and see what we think about it after a year. So some of the customizations I've already done to my particular 4xe, I've added some lights. I made my own light mount down there, and I used the Sparta 7 mounts over here, and I added those for my cowl lights. And as you can see, I have added the 4xe logo to the side. And boy, once I did that and shared a picture in the group, that really took off. We actually made that part go on back order for a little while. And I think that was just due to the people in the 4xe fans group. I do have 4 Badge of Honor badges so far, and you may be asking, hey, how did you do that on those stock wheels? Well, I didn't. I did do Ophir Pass on the stock wheels, but if you follow me on Instagram, you can see I do have a set of KO2s that I bought from a Rubicon owner that took them off. I also have some lights on the back that I have hooked up, and I'll put a link in the video or down in the description below of how I added those. And I have done a couple storage options back here in the back. So far, that's all I've done. And I do have a little modification that I did to the pedestrian warning system, and I'll put a link to one of my videos below that I actually can temporarily pass it using the aux4 button. And like I said, I'll put a link in this video so you can see that. But let's get on to some of the other things. So first, let's talk about the very first thing that we all wish the Wrangler 4xe had. We all wish that it had just a little bit more electric range. Now, there are obvious reasons why this couldn't happen. If you don't know about the weight of the 4xe, it is significantly heavier already than a regular JL, just because the battery and the hybrid system. And also the price tag. I've always imagined that one of the things that Jeep had on their whiteboard when they were envisioning this system was cost and weight and efficiency. I'm sure they had some things that they had to stick within. It would be very difficult for Jeep to place a $100,000 plus Wrangler on a lot right next to a $60,000 Jeep. So they had to really work on the price, and they had to make some decisions for both the price and the weight of the vehicle. And I think that's why we see what's rated at 21 miles. We're all getting 24 miles, 25. Some people even getting even more. So that's one of the things. Yes, we wish that the Wrangler 4xe had a bigger battery, but we can understand why it ended up the way it ended up. So one thing on my list that I wish the Wrangler 4xe did a little bit different has to do with the cruise control. My feeling is that if I have the vehicle in electric mode, I'm going to work to keep it in electric mode as much as possible. And one thing that I've found is that the cruise control is so aggressive that it will actually, if you hit resume when you're out on a country road or something, you have the cruise control set 50 miles an hour, it's going to get that vehicle up to 50 miles an hour fast enough that it will actually kick in the gas engine. That's something that I wish was a little bit different. Either a setting in the Uconnect to say, hey, I want you to be a little more conservative on how aggressive you are getting back to speed, or a setting that tells it when it's in electric mode, hey, just take it to the edge and don't go any faster. Another thing that other owners came up with, I didn't come up with this until later, until I started seeing the benefit of it. It would be a blended hybrid mode, some sort of button or something that we could push to make a blended hybrid mode. If you don't know what I mean by a blended hybrid mode, if you pull the shifter over to the left to manual mode, you'll force the gas engine to start and it'll go into hybrid mode over on the E-Select. And what a lot of us have found is up to around 70, 80 miles, you can get about 33 miles a gallon because it's still using the battery in concert with the gas engine. So a lot of us kind of wish there was a blended hybrid mode. Again, either something in the Uconnect that you could select that, or a button on the shifter that would just allow it to automatically shift, because when you do pull it over, you do have to shift. It does go into manual mode. So you do have to be cognizant of that you're not redlining the thing before you're shifting gears or anything. But I really feel like a true a blended mode would benefit a lot of people. For myself, my daily, I use a lot of electric mode, and it's not something that I do a lot. But one thing that a lot of us have come to understand about direct injection engines is that it could cause a lot of oil dilution issues if you're constantly starting and stopping that engine. Whereas if you had a blended mode, you knew your trip was going to be 40 miles, you could go ahead and throw it in blended mode, and you're still going to run the gas engine, which is going to kind of defeat the purpose of having a plug-in electric hybrid, in that we want to reduce our carbon emissions by running in electric mode. However, if you found yourself in that situation, it might be better for the engine. And from a net energy perspective, it probably all comes out the same anyway. But there are those times that it would be nice just to have that blended hybrid mode. One of my things that I wish the most about the Wrangler 4xe is that we could somehow remap the accelerator pedal when we're in electric mode to only start the gas engine when you absolutely stomp on it. If you think of like Mercedes products that have that little drop down button underneath the gas pedal that, if you stomp it all the way, it actually downshifts the transmission one gear and all that kind of stuff. It would be nice if the Wrangler 4xe had some sort of remapping, or an option, again, in the Uconnect to say, hey, I only want you to start that gas engine if I absolutely put it to the floor. Otherwise, leave the gas engine out of the equation. So if you're anything like me, you have had those situations where you were almost to your destination and the gas engine starts. You were like right at the edge of that electric range and you could see your house off in the distance. I mean, I've literally had it to where I'm on my street, I can see my house, and I just hit that point where electric mode is no longer available. One of the things we've come to understand about the Wrangler 4xe is that the battery, even when it says less than 1% on the dashboard, you've still got somewhere in the neighborhood of 15% total state of charge in the battery. I wish there was like an almost there button or an almost home button or give me another half a mile button, something that I could say, hey, I'm almost there, and it maybe have a warning come up on the screen that says, hey, I'm going to start the gas engine, and say, hey, I'm almost there. Give me a little piece of that 15% and let me get there. So another option I personally would like to see in the Wrangler 4xe is some way to change the charge rate in vehicle. Before buying this vehicle, I had a smart electric drive, and I had the ability to select different charge rates in the vehicle, like inside the dash. So if I found myself in a scenario where maybe I was plugging in somewhere where there's something else plugged in, I could drop that charge rate down and not blow any circuit breakers or anything. But also, I think during the summer, this would be a good option if you knew you were plugging the vehicle in for hours and you didn't want it to charge really fast, and you had your vehicle in a hot garage. If you've been through a summer with the Wrangler 4xe, you know the cooling system and everything kicks on to thermally manage the battery while it's charging. But if we could charge at a lower rate, I'm thinking that heat wouldn't be as much of an issue. So I do wish there was a way to change the charge rate inside the vehicle and say, hey, I don't need it charged in 2 hours. Let it charge overnight, and give us that option as something we could pick in the U-Connect or in the dash or something. So let's talk about Max Regen. We all, maybe if you watch some of my other videos, I've tried to explain what Max Regen is and what it isn't. But one thing that a lot of people may not understand about the 4xe is when you turn Max Regen on, it actually remaps the top end of your gas pedal a little bit. And you can vary the amount of regen based on where you place your foot, based on how far down you push the accelerator pedal. I do wish that range was just a little bit more. I think they've done a fantastic job. Now that I've learned how to use it and kind of retrained my foot, it is a great function. I mean, it's well designed. I just wish that range were just a little bit more to give us a little bit broader control over that max regen. One of the other things I wish the Wrangler 4xe had is some sort of indicator to tell me about what the temperature of the battery is. I like to precondition before I leave, and I have really no way of knowing how long I should precondition. I don't know how long the vehicle should run before the battery is up to temperature. And so one of the things that I wish the Wrangler 4xe gave me is some sort of temperature indicator so I know, hey, do I run this thing for 5 minutes or do I run this thing for 15 minutes to get it to an optimal operating temperature? Now this part is probably going to be the most controversial thing you've heard me say in a while. I personally, I don't like the blue tow hooks. Oh my gosh, I said it. No, I like them on other Jeeps. I don't like them on mine. I don't like them on the Granite. I look at other people's Jeeps and I love them, but I really wish that the blue tow hooks were an option. I think that's something I've seen some people swap theirs out for the black tow hooks just because they like the black look. And that's the way I am with mine. I personally like the black tow hooks. If you have a 21 Sahara, you have a bit of a unicorn in that we will be the only ones that have black tow hooks. From 22 on, the high altitude, the Sahara, the Rubicon, all have those blue tow hooks, and I kind of wish that was an option. One of the things a lot of us did in the 4xe fans group is we went out and we added 4xe badging to the sides of our vehicles. A lot of us just didn't feel that the 4xe badge on the back was enough, and we wanted more of that. And so I think we might have had an influence on some other models that are coming up. It just seems like some things are different about the Grand Cherokee 4xe. There's some little design elements like the blue E on the, a lot of us have done that on our charge ports, and all of a sudden there's a blue E on the charge port of the Grand Cherokee 4xe. So who knows if we've had some influence there, but I would like to see more 4xe badging on the vehicle, and that's why I ended up doing that to mine, and I think a lot of other people have done the same thing. And I would say the final thing on my list, this is my own personal list, if you go into screen 7, you see a screen that measures your electric miles and it measures your hybrid miles, which, by the way, the Wrangler 4xe is always a hybrid. Some people will say something about it being in gas mode. There is no gas-only mode on the Wrangler 4xe. It's always a hybrid. It's just depends on what variant of hybrid it is. And one thing I would like to see, along with measuring my total distance traveled in either electric or hybrid, I would like to also see the electrical energy that I've used in that process. We only have miles per gallon, which in a plug-in hybrid becomes kind of a dirty number because you're figuring in the distance you're traveling on those electric miles, but you're not figuring the energy that you're using in those electric miles. So miles per gallon becomes a little bit of a funny number because that's not really miles to the gallon. Now, it's also not MPGE. Some people have mistaken that, and a lot of videos on YouTube have said that MPGE is a combined fuel mileage, and that's not what MPGE is. I have a video about that. You can watch that here. But if you're trying to really, if you're kind of an energy geek and you really want to try to track your actual energy used, that miles per gallon is a little bit of a misnomer because it's not giving you the whole picture. Now, it is a great tool for yourself. If you're going in and looking at screen 5, right now mine says 39.1 miles a gallon. That's how I rate myself. But what I can't do is turn around and compare that to another 4xe owner because our case uses can be so different and plug-in hybrids create so many variables that it's really unfair to compare between two Wrangler 4xe's. But I still like the number as a gauge of my own to kind of see how I'm doing. I love it when it gets over 40 miles to the gallon because then I know I'm really doing something. I've had it to like 43 or 44 at one point. And right now I'm at 39. I had a couple unplanned lengthy drives on this tank, which on this tank I have 1,133 miles total on this tank, and I'm still just below 3/8 of the tank. 944 of those miles have been electric miles. So I like being able to break things down like that. I just wish the Jeep did that for the energy used as well. Button placement. The E-Select over on the left side of the dash, I do wish those buttons were somehow in a place where they were easier to get to, easier to see. Now, I know on the screen it does show you what mode you're in, but I just wish those buttons were a little more accessible. And I know there are other buttons over here beside the headlight switch that are also hidden. And so it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I do wish they were a little more visible. Well, that about wraps it up for my first year in the Wrangler 4xE. And I just want to thank you for being a part of this little journey. Like I said in the beginning, it's been so much fun in the Facebook group and YouTube channel just to see people being a part of this and being a part of the 4xE community. Take a moment if you want, take a look around my channel, look at some of the ideas that I've shared on like charger etiquette and different things around the Wrangler 4xE. That we are now in a weird community. We're kind of in a hybrid community. Sorry for the pun, but we're in a hybrid community because we are Jeep owners, but we're also in the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle world, which gets us into like electric vehicle communities and stuff. So it's we're in a blended community, and I hope you are excited about that and excited about the possibilities of the future of what it looks like as Jeep rolls out their electric future. Thanks for watching, and take care.